The Club World Cup flew under the radar for some, and not so much for others. And honestly, I haven't been able to stop thinking about it. Not because of who won, not even because of Messi, although, yeah, that was emotional. It's what FIFA quietly pulled off behind the scenes. Something bigger than football, something strategic. On the surface, it was just a new tournament format. More teams, more matches, more hype. But beneath all of that, it was $1 billion power play, a move designed not just to entertain fans, but to reshape how we watch sport, who controls it, and how money moves through the game. And the more I looked into it, the more I realised this wasn't just about lifting a trophy. It was about media dominance, soft power, narrative control, and the kind of quiet influence that doesn't make headlines, but changes everything. So today on Hidden Economics, I'm unpacking the 5 invisible forces behind FIFA's most ambitious tournament ever, and why they might have just changed football's future without most people even noticing. Let's dive in. The more I sat with this tournament, the clearer it became. FIFA isn't really in the business of football. They're in the business of attention. And what we just witnessed was $1 billion exercise in how to manufacture it. For most of its history, FIFA made nearly all its revenue from one thing: the Men's World Cup. Every 4 years, the whole world tunes in. Sponsorships explode. Broadcast rights sell for billions. Screen time. In World Cup years, FIFA often earns over 90% of its revenue from a single event. That's not just risky, it's outdated. The attention economy doesn't reward scarcity. It rewards consistency. You need constant engagement, daily relevance, a narrative that never switches off, and that's where the Club World Cup comes in. Not as a tournament, but as a strategic media property. Think about it, 32 clubs from every continent, 63 matches, built-in drama, Messi, underdogs, legacy brands versus rising markets. And it all took place in the most lucrative media market on earth, the United States. But this wasn't about stadiums, it was about screens. FIFA structured everything for maximum media value. Match day, build-ups. Behind the scenes training content, narrative arcs, they could release episode by episode, short form content for TikTok, long form storytelling for Netflix style partnerships. Every angle built not just to be watched, but to be shared. This is how platforms like Disney, Plus or Amazon build loyalty. FIFA's doing the same thing with football. And Messi? Messi was the emotional hook. The proven IP, football's Iron Man, at the centre of a new cinematic universe. The real power play wasn't who lifted the trophy, it's who controlled the narrative. And now that it's happened once, FIFA has hours of valuable footage, emotional highlights, legacy clips, and cultural moments they can monetize for months. Clubs come and go, the media rights live on.
Double figures for Bayern Munich.
This wasn't a sports tournament. It was intellectual property wrapped in emotion, sold to the highest bidder. But for FIFA to pull this off, they needed more than just content. They needed a launchpad, a cultural megaphone. And that brings us to hidden force number 2. Now, I know what you're probably thinking. Of course, FIFA hosted the Club World Cup in the US. The Men's World Cup is coming in 2026. And yeah, you're not wrong. That's the surface level logic. But the more I looked at it, the more I realized that's only part of the story. The real reason is far more strategic. Because FIFA wasn't just preparing stadiums, they were preparing the market. The US wasn't just a warm-up act. It was a Trojan horse, an intentional play to embed FIFA into the heart of American sports media before the rest of the world shows up. Because here's what makes the US different. It doesn't run on clubs, it runs on leagues, the NFL, NBA, MLB. These aren't just competitions, they're content ecosystems, centrally managed and optimized for monetization. FIFA sees that, and once in, the Club World Cup wasn't FIFA expanding a tournament. It was FIFA auditioning for a spot in the American sports psyche. The US has a unique multiplier effect. Its culture is built for scale. Sports don't stay local, they go global. Just look at how the NBA cracked China, or how the NFL now plays games in Germany and London. FIFA understands that the US doesn't just consume culture, it exports it through merchandise, streaming, storytelling, and spectacle. And then there's the money. The US sports economy is worth over $80 billion a year, the largest on earth. Streaming deals, licensing, stadium merch, Super Bowl scale advertising. FIFA doesn't just want a slice of that. They want to bake their own version of the pie. And the timing couldn't be better. The 2026 Men's World Cup is coming. But the Club World Cup wasn't a teaser. It was a stress test to see if FIFA could hook American audiences on its own terms. And here's the genius part. In the US, FIFA sidestepped the gatekeepers. No Premier League drama, no UEFA scheduling fights, just a clean runway. So yes, Miami hosted matches, but the real battleground, it was every American screen. Every push notification, every highlight reel FIFA slipped into the feed. And they didn't do it alone. They had help, one man who could draw in casual fans, command headlines, and carry the emotional weight of the tournament like no one else. That's where hidden force number 3 comes in. Messi wasn't just playing. He was FIFA's narrative asset. Watching the tournament, one thing stood out to me immediately. Messi was everywhere. Every promo, every ad, every highlight package. No matter what game you were watching. Even when Inter Miami wasn't playing, Messi somehow was. And that got me thinking. This wasn't just about celebrating a legend. It was about anchoring an untested product with something fans already trusted. In media economics, there's a concept called the character economy. People don't just watch content, they follow characters, heroes, underdogs, farewell arcs, redemption stories. And Messi? He's all of that rolled into one. As Messi enters the final chapters of his career, this tournament carried unique emotional weight on a global stage of the club, especially in a tournament setting. So FIFA positioned him perfectly, the emotional centerpiece, the legacy anchor, the human story that gave a brand new tournament instant credibility. Every time Messi touched the ball, it felt important. Not because of the stakes, because of the symbolism. Inter Miami wasn't just representing the MLS, they were carrying Messi's final run. And that story did what FIFA needed most. It made people care. Because let's be honest, most viewers don't have strong emotional ties to clubs like Al Hilal, Mamelodi Sundowns, or Auckland City. But Messi transcends all that. He cuts across borders, languages, and leagues. You don't need to explain who he is, you just watch. And here's what almost no one talks about. Without Messi, would the Club World Cup have trended globally? Would sponsors have lined up? Would broadcasters have paid what they did? Probably not. Messi didn't just elevate the play, he elevated the perception. And that's the most powerful form of value in branding, prestige by association. FIFA needed emotional gravity, and Messi gave them a shortcut. He made the tournament feel legendary, even though it had no legacy. So when you saw Messi holding that ball, or walking through that tunnel, or getting swamped by teammates after that free kick screamer against Porto, you weren't just watching football, you were watching storycraft. But story isn't enough. Not in a landscape dominated by the Premier League, La Liga, and the UEFA Champions League. To truly take control, FIFA had to do something bolder, something structural. And that's where hidden force number 4 comes in. This tournament was never about clubs. It was about control. One thing became really clear to me as I watched this tournament unfold. This wasn't about clubs. Not really, it was about control. See, most fans don't realize that FIFA doesn't actually run club football. That power sits with the domestic leagues, like the Premier League, La Liga, the Bundesliga, and the regional bodies, especially UEFA, UEFA runs the Champions League, the most prestigious club competition in the world. Billions in revenue, global prestige, generational loyalty. And for years, FIFA has watched from the sidelines as UEFA took centre stage between World Cups. That's a problem because prestige equals influence, and influence means control over rules, schedules, sponsors, player workloads, and broadcast calendars. So the Club World Cup, it wasn't just about football, it was a power play. By launching a high-stakes global tournament with 32 teams, FIFA wasn't expanding the game. They were expanding their territory. They were saying, this isn't just UEFA's game anymore, and they did it cleverly. They scheduled the Club World Cup during a quiet window, just far enough from UEFA's calendar to avoid direct conflict, but close enough to challenge their influence. They offered more prize money than some Champions League stages, tempting clubs to take it seriously. They built a global format, not just Europe, heavy like UEFA's competitions, but with South American, African, Asian, and North American representation. That way, FIFA could claim global legitimacy. They weren't just hosting a tournament, they were making a statement. We represent the world. UEFA just represents Europe, and the more successful this tournament becomes, the more leverage FIFA gains. Over players, over clubs, over the global football calendar. This is about centralising power under one brand. Less fragmentation, more vertical control, FIFA at the top. And here's the kicker. For fans, it looked like a celebration of global football. For FIFA, it was a quiet restructuring of how the game is run. This wasn't just a new tournament. It was a new hierarchy, disguised as a competition. But to really sell that hierarchy, FIFA needed more than prize money and format tweaks. They needed something symbolic. Something that could say, we run this, without actually saying it. The more I look back, the more I realised FIFA didn't just build a tournament, they manufactured prestige. Think about it. The Club World Cup has existed in some form since 2000, but barely anyone outside hardcore fans paid attention. So how did FIFA take an event that had almost no cultural traction and suddenly turn it into a global spectacle? They used scarcity, and they used it brilliantly. Only 32 clubs were invited. That's fewer than the World Cup. It wasn't open qualification. It wasn't democratic. It was curated, intentionally exclusive. And this taps into something deep in human psychology. In economics, we call it signaling value. When something is scarce and elite, it signals importance, even if the history behind it is thin. Think of how luxury brands work. The less available something is, the more people want it. FIFA did the same thing, just with football. They wrapped the tournament in symbols of legacy. A brand new trophy with gold finishes, new logos, a tightly managed visual identity. Even the match draws felt theatrical, like an Apple product launch. You could feel the tone shift in the broadcast. The commentators didn't ask, is this legit? They asked, how historic could this become? That's the trick. FIFA didn't wait for prestige to grow organically. They planted it. By controlling every frame, from Messi's entrance to the way the trophy was lit, they manufactured the feeling of legacy. And the feeling was enough. Because for most fans, perception is reality. If it looks important, feels exclusive, and involves global icons, it is important. Each of these five forces wasn't obvious at first, but together they formed a hidden power play. The Club World Cup didn't have a rich tradition, but it didn't need one. All it needed was scarcity, symbolism, and one or two unforgettable moments. And now, it's on the calendar, it's in the archives, it's in the conversation. But there's one last thing FIFA did. Something subtle. It wasn't a match, it wasn't a player, it was something they built that most fans completely overlooked. And it holds the key to understanding FIFA's true mindset. That's where our bonus insight comes in. The trophy design wasn't just aesthetic, it was diplomatic. There's one detail almost no one's talking about. Not the broadcast deals, not the scorelines, the trophy. When FIFA unveiled their redesigned Club World Cup trophy, most of the headlines said the same thing. Slick, new design. Premium finish, feels more modern. And that's the misconception right there. That the trophy was just about branding, a cosmetic refresh to match a new era. But here's something hardly anyone knows. FIFA didn't just redesign the trophy, they embedded a message, literally, into the object itself. If you look closely, you'll see 6 subtle symbols engraved along its body. Each one represents a different FIFA confederation: Europe, South America, North America, Asia, Africa, and Oceania. Not just decoration, it's a political map, a quiet reminder that FIFA isn't just a tournament organizer. It sees itself as the global authority in football. This is a textbook example of soft symbolism, embedding hierarchy into the thing everyone's chasing, just like a flag, or a monument, or a national crest. It doesn't shout for attention, it just asserts control quietly. So when players lifted that trophy on stage, when broadcasters zoomed in on the gold finish, when the crowd roared beneath the lights and confetti, they weren't just celebrating a win. They were endorsing FIFA's vision of football's future. And if this worked, don't be surprised if FIFA's next move goes even further to how we watch, bet on, or even own the game. And the power wasn't just in the prize, it was in the message. A message most people never noticed, because it was hiding in plain sight. The matches may be behind us, but the meaning behind them is still unfolding. The more I've thought about it, the more I've realised. This wasn't just about football. It was a billion-dollar chess move, from media dominance to market expansion, from Messi as narrative strategy to a quiet power struggle with UEFA, from scarcity economics to symbolism baked into the trophy itself. Every part of the Club World Cup was designed to do one thing: consolidate control. FIFA didn't just host a tournament. They built a narrative machine, embedded their brand into new markets, and reminded the world who really runs global football. And here's the cool part. Once you start seeing moves like this behind the headlines, behind the highlight reels, you can't unsee them. You start noticing the real forces shaping money, power, and influence. That's what hidden economics is all about. If this video helped you see things differently, give it a like, drop a comment. What surprised you most about FIFA's strategy? Or is there a hidden force in sport, business, or politics you've noticed? I'd love to explore it. And subscribe for more stories that decode the economics hiding in plain sight. Thanks for watching. Stay sharp, stay curious, and I'll see you in the next one.